We have breaking news that we're following in Sean Diddy Combs' racketeering and sex trafficking trial. In just moments, Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, is set to retake the stand and face what we expect to be her final round of questioning under cross-examination.
The 55-year-old is facing up to life in prison on charges that include racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
The clip taking on new meaning as Cassie, who's 9 months pregnant, gives her tearful testimony in the federal sex trafficking trial of her ex, Sean Diddy Combs, who maintains his innocence against all charges.
All right, folks, you better grab a comfy seat and buckle up, because what's coming next is straight out of a real-life thriller. And trust me, it's not for the faint-hearted. The whole situation between Diddy and Cassie just keeps getting messier and more unbelievable. Now that Cassie has stepped into the spotlight to share her story during his criminal trial, the details she's dropped? Wow. They're the kind that make your jaw hit the floor. We're talking about shocking moments that include being forced into dangerous situations, wild encounters involving substances, a mystery car explosion, and so much more that it sounds like it came right out of an action movie script gone dark. But nope. This is her real-life testimony.
She said that Sean Combs directed everything from what she had on to the lighting in the room to how she was supposed to interact with the person that she was having sex with.
She claims the so-called freak-offs left her with sores, frequent UTIs, and stomach problems.
She explains how she used makeup, how she had to hide the bruising.
Cassandra Ventura didn't hold anything back. She sat on that witness stand and painted a picture of chaos and fear stretching over the course of multiple days. Her words were intense, graphic, and deeply emotional. She spoke about being manipulated, threatened, and controlled in ways that left her mentally and physically scarred. Imagine being surrounded by people with power and fame, and still feeling like you're completely trapped. She described moments where things got so extreme, it honestly left people in the courtroom stunned, even those used to hearing heavy stuff on a daily basis. One of the wildest claims? A luxury car. Boom! Blown up right in front of her, allegedly to send a message. Then there were other claims about being dragged into risky and humiliating situations, all while trying to survive in a world where speaking up could ruin everything. She didn't just name-drop powerful people, she gave specifics, locations, patterns, and connections that prosecutors are now carefully weaving into their case. Now, if you've been here since last year, you know there were a lot of whispers floating around. Rumors, drama, wild claims, but no real proof to back them up. Just messy talk and internet theories. But now, it's a whole different ballgame. Things are starting to come together, and not in a good way for Diddy. The kind of stuff that once sounded like conspiracy is now being laid out in a courtroom, with receipts, witnesses, and testimony. And let's be real, even Diddy's own legal team seems like they're out of steam. The case is so deep, so tangled, and so dark, it's like they don't even know where to start unraveling it anymore. For starters, let's break down what he's actually being accused of. First up, racketeering conspiracy. Sounds like something out of a mob movie, right? That's because it kind of is. The government is basically saying Diddy was the boss of a behind-the-scenes criminal network, a whole operation that allegedly revolved around power, manipulation, and total control. He's accused of using his businesses, his money, and even his own staff to keep women under his thumb. Allegedly, he threatened them, scared them, and used shady tactics to force them into doing things they didn't want to do. This wasn't just one man doing bad things. The claim is that he had help and that he made sure everyone played their part to keep the illusion intact. And here's the kicker. For a racketeering charge to stick, the prosecution has to show that there were actual crimes behind the scenes, not just drama, but actions. We're talking about serious stuff like kidnapping, bribery, obstruction of justice, and more. It's like checking off boxes, and prosecutors say at least 2 of those boxes already checked. But wait, there's more. He's also facing charges related to S-teaking. And this is where it gets even more disturbing. The claim is that he recruited and transported women, like Cassie, not for business meetings or music videos, but to be part of twisted setups where their free will was stripped away. The government says he used lies, fear, and manipulation to get what he wanted, while holding money, fame, and safety over their heads like a leash. And according to these allegations, it wasn't just about one woman. This was a pattern. He's also charged with transportation for illegal purposes. In simpler terms, moving women around with a shady intent. Whether it was across state lines or to different countries, the idea was allegedly to control the situation from all angles, making sure these women couldn't escape or speak out without consequences. Now here's where it gets real personal. Cassie, or Cassandra Ventura, came forward at 38 years old, very pregnant, and decided to testify early on in this 8-week trial. And let's not forget, there's a 17-year age gap between her and Diddy, and they were involved for a whole decade. Her voice matters. Her story is not just emotional, it's central to building the government's case. So yeah, if you thought this case was wild before, it just leveled up. Cassie's testimony is shedding light on the darkest corners of this entire situation, and it's helping prosecutors paint a picture of who Diddy really was behind closed doors, not just as a celebrity, but as someone who allegedly mistreated power in the worst way.
Over the last hour, the defense has been asking Ventura more about her 2018 allegation against Combs, Ventura's drug use, her mental health problems, and a 2014 threat that she made to a man who claimed he had seen a sexually explicit tape of her, also raised in court. The defense at one point asking Ventura, quote, "Do you still have love for him?" referring to Combs, and Ventura answered by saying, quote, "I have love for the past and what it was."
Now, Cassie wasn't alone in this emotional battlefield. As the courtroom sat in heavy silence, with each testimony unraveling more layers of a dark and painful past, one voice rose from beyond the witness stand, the voice of Alex Fine, Cassie's husband of 7 years. His statement, read aloud by attorney Douglas Wigdor, didn't just support his wife, it echoed like a thunderclap through the courtroom, shaking the narrative to its core. It wasn't just words, it was a stand, it was love, it was rage, it was truth. After Cassie finished her powerful 4-day testimony, a grueling recount of years haunted by fear, control, and brutality, Alex Fine stepped up with a public statement that cut deep. He opened by acknowledging what millions had just witnessed, his wife's courage. Over the past 5 days, the world has gotten to witness the strength and bravery of my wife, freeing herself of her past, he said. From the front row, Alex watched her relive unspeakable pain, and now he let the world know what that felt like. His statement revealed the emotional roller coaster he had ridden beside her. He spoke of tremendous pride and overwhelming love, but also profound anger. Anger at the man who he said tried to break her spirit right before their eyes. Then, with the kind of force that can only come from deep personal pain, Alex turned his attention toward Diddy and those who, in his words, had aided the music mogul's dark behavior. His message was clear, fierce, and unwavering. They had tried to break Cassie, but they failed. He described her glow, the light in her smile, the joy she brought to their daughters, and how none of it had been stolen. "You did not break the soul of a mother who gives the best hugs and plays the silliest games with our little girls. You did not break the woman who has made me a better man." And then came the most powerful line of all, a testament to Cassie's willpower. Cassie saved Cassie. According to Alex, she wasn't saved by anyone else. She didn't wait for someone to rescue her. She fought her way out. She did the hard work. She battled mistreatment, coercion, brutality, and threats. And through that war, she found herself again. As the courtroom digested Alex's message, Cassie herself stepped forward one last time. Through her attorney, she released a personal statement that struck a balance between pain and power. She admitted the week had been one of the hardest in her life, but also one of the most healing. Her voice, once silenced by fear, now rang with clarity and conviction. Now, if you're one of those people who haven't really been keeping up with all the drama, let me catch you up with the juicy details about what Cassie revealed during the lawsuit and after her testimony. When Cassie first filed her lawsuit against Diddy, it sent shockwaves through the entire music industry. The claims she made were nothing short of jaw-dropping. She alleged that during their relationship, Diddy was physically savage, leaving bruises, cuts, and marks all over her body. But it didn't stop there. Cassie claimed that he forced her into intimate situations with other people, secretly recording those encounters. What's worse, he allegedly used those videos to manipulate and control her whenever she tried to stand up for herself or tried to leave the relationship. On top of that, Cassie didn't hold back in exposing Diddy's alleged substance mistreatment issues, threats, and the way he supposedly manipulated everyone around him to maintain control. It was a toxic, messy situation that painted a very dark picture of the man behind the glamorous music persona. When Diddy finally responded to the lawsuit, he vehemently denied every accusation. He dismissed Cassie's claims as offensive and outrageous, accusing her of being motivated purely by money. He even alleged that she was attempting to blackmail him, threatening to write a tell-all book designed to tarnish his reputation. But despite his fierce denials, the situation quickly shifted, and not just because of Cassie. Multiple other individuals came forward with their own lawsuits. leveling similar accusations against Diddy. Before long, a total of 17 people had officially filed lawsuits, each echoing the same disturbing allegations. Attorney Busby, who's representing many of these accusers, revealed that there are actually more than 100 others preparing to come forward through his office. According to him, the floodgates are just opening, and we can expect to hear a lot more details sooner rather than later. Now, the term freak-off has been floating around for a while. People always knew Diddy threw wild parties, but according to Cassie, what she went through was far beyond anything people imagined. In her lawsuit, she described a disturbing pattern where Diddy allegedly coerced her into what he called freak-offs, private encounters involving male workers he specifically hired for these acts. Cassie claims Diddy would intoxicate her beforehand, making it impossible for her to give real consent. There's even a whole chapter in the legal filing titled Mr. Combs Forces Miss Ventura into a Situation. It's unsettling. While the exact words are avoided, the context is clear. During a stay in New York City, Diddy allegedly told Cassie he wanted to explore a voyeuristic fantasy, watching her with another man. He required everyone to wear masquerade masks and take substances, then reportedly directed the encounter while watching and gratifying himself. Over time, Cassie says these freak-offs became a weekly routine, often taking place in luxury hotel suites. She even named specific hotels, like the Intercontinental in New York City, where one incident around 2013 allegedly caused tens of thousands of dollars in damages. Even more disturbing, Cassie alleges that Diddy made her recruit men for these events using escort websites, asking for men who met specific physical traits. Specifically, she said he told her to search for large black Ds. Diddy allegedly required her to wear lingerie and white nail polish to create a visual contrast during these encounters, but it didn't stop there. Cassie says Diddy treated these moments like film productions, setting up candles, controlling the lighting, and recording everything with his phone, laptop, and tablet. He gave detailed directions like a director, turning these disturbing acts into what he called art. And when Cassie tried to back away, things got darker. She claims Diddy would use the footage as blackmail. In one chilling moment, described in the lawsuit, while they were on a plane, Diddy made her watch one of these recordings, something she thought she had deleted. It was a terrifying reminder that he had control. There are also claims of DV. Cassie recounts moments when Diddy, especially drunk, would strike her in front of others. Before these encounters, she said she'd been so anxious she'd throw up, yet Diddy would shame her and force her to go through it anyway, like it was part of her job. And believe it or not, this is only scratching the surface of what Diddy's being accused of. Beyond the horrific things Cassie described, he's allegedly targeted not just her, but other women and even men, anyone he could control. But it gets even darker. Diddy is also being accused of orchestrating multiple mysterious deaths in the industry. Yes, you heard that right. People are starting to question whether some of these so-called accidents were actually something far more sinister. Let's start with the tragic story of Aaron Carter, whose official cause of death was ruled as drowning. But many aren't buying that explanation. Whispers across the internet speculate that Aaron may have overdosed before he was even found in that bathtub. Sound familiar? That's because his story mirrors that of legendary Whitney Houston, another icon found lifeless in a bathtub. Her death tangled with illegal substances. But what connects these two cases to someone like Diddy? The threads become even more unsettling when you pull them. Before Diddy rose to become one of the most powerful figures in hip-hop, he was heavily influenced by Clive Davis, a legendary record executive with his own dark shadow. Clive, the man who shaped the careers of countless stars, including Whitney, has faced disturbing rumors, some alleging inappropriate conduct with young boys. According to Jaguar Wright, an outspoken whistleblower in the music world, Diddy and even Jay-Z may have inherited more than just career advice from Clive. They may have picked up on the manipulative and sinister behaviors rooted deep in the music industry's underbelly. The connection between Diddy, Clive Davis, and Whitney Houston deepens when you consider the circumstances of Whitney's death. She was found dead at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, right before Clive's legendary pre-Grammy party. Instead of mourning, Clive reportedly chose to go on with the celebration, an action that left many people stunned. Meanwhile, Diddy, who had also been partying that same night at the Playboy Mansion, allegedly ended up hospitalized with a severe migraine. Jaguar Wright has long argued that Diddy's quick rise to fame with Bad Boy Records wasn't just about hustle or talent, it was about strategic favors, possibly for Clive. She questions how Diddy, once an intern at Uptown Records, suddenly emerged as a music mogul almost overnight. Her theory? Clive Davis pulled strings behind the scenes, possibly with a price attached. Wright also sheds light on a forgotten tragedy, the 1991 stampede at City College during a charity basketball event organized by Diddy. 9 young lives were lost, including a pregnant woman. The event had been overbooked and lacked proper security, and many believe Diddy should have faced more consequences. Some suggest that Clive Davis once again stepped in to shield him from the fallout. Even more alarming is a rumor about how Diddy came to replace Andre Harrell as Clive's favorite. Allegedly, in a pivotal moment in 1994, Diddy got on his knees for Clive, literally or metaphorically. And from there, Bad Boy Records took off. Years later, Clive would publicly come out as bi in 2013, adding another controversial layer to his already heavily scrutinized persona. But things spiral darker when you examine how these connections tie into mysterious deaths and chilling allegations. According to Jaguar Wright, Clive taught Diddy more than business. She alleges he passed down knowledge on how to administer substances that mimic natural causes of death. This becomes especially disturbing when you consider the mysterious death of Kim Porter, Diddy's ex. In 2018, she was officially said to have died of pneumonia, but the story didn't sit right with many. Kim was reportedly writing a tell-all book revealing shocking details about her relationship with Diddy, stories of emotional and physical mistreatment, of being spied on, and of Diddy using manipulative tactics to keep control. The most damning claim? That Diddy had connections to the deaths of Tupac and Biggie, using them to tighten his grip on hip-hop's legacy. Even more sinister, there were whispers that Kim's death scene showed signs of foul play, blood on her pillow, a mysterious trail from her room to the bathroom, and a suspicious 911 call at 2:43 a.m. that wasn't followed up until hours later. These details point to a cover-up. Her family reportedly considered filing a wrongful death lawsuit and even reached out to the FBI, but investigators allegedly urged them to stay quiet. Then there's the eerie connection to Shakir Stewart, a music executive who was allegedly dating Kim before her death. After Diddy supposedly found out, Shakir was found dead from a gunshot wound, a death ruled a suicide, but his family insists foul play was involved. And then there's Al B. Sure, Kim's ex, who mysteriously fell into a coma for 2 months. He too was reportedly working on a tell-all that would expose the dark truths of the industry and his connections to Diddy. Sounds familiar, right? That's because Andre Harrell, Diddy's former mentor and another major music executive, was also working on a manuscript before his death, one said to expose secrets about how Diddy rose to power and the role Clive Davis played. But before anything could be published, Andre passed away unexpectedly. Now enter Jamie Foxx. His story adds a fresh layer to this haunting pattern. Jamie and Diddy were close, so close in fact that Jamie was allegedly invited to Diddy's notorious freak-off parties. But things changed when Jamie began making cryptic jokes about what he'd seen at those events. In his Netflix special, What Had Happened Was, Jamie supposedly dropped several subtle hints about Diddy's dark side. Witnesses at the taping claim Jamie even said Diddy's name directly. And shortly after that, Jamie mysteriously fell into a coma. The public was left confused, and speculation ran rampant that Diddy had something to do with it. Then came Choke No Joke, a veteran videographer and director who revealed that Jamie had flat out said on stage that Diddy was responsible for what happened to him. Choke claimed Jamie even reached out to the FBI. According to him, Jamie wasn't cracking jokes. He was sounding an alarm. He added that Jamie's disappearance from the spotlight happened just before Diddy's arrest, raising serious questions about the timing. But it didn't stop there. Celebrity security guard Big Homie CC later claimed that Jamie didn't just hint, he accused Diddy of poisoning him and reported it to federal authorities. That statement turned up the volume on the theory that Diddy's reach extended far beyond the music industry and into something far more sinister. So when we trace these stories, from Aaron Carter and Whitney Houston to Kim Porter, Shakir Stewart, Andre Harrell, and now Jamie Foxx, a chilling pattern begins to emerge. These aren't isolated tragedies. They're part of a disturbing web of allegations, power plays, manipulation, and possibly murder. Whether coincidence or conspiracy, the connections are too tangled to ignore. Jaguar Wright and others continue to push for answers, peeling back the glamorous curtain of the music world to expose a truth that may be far more haunting than any of us are ready to face. Now I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think Diddy could be facing life behind bars, or is there still a chance that he might get sentenced with parole? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And while we wait for more updates, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos too.